Hello, you beautiful being. Welcome to Fairytale Sprinkles. Fairy Sam here to sprinkle my fairy dust because we need fantasy to survive reality.
I think the name of this game is survival.
Now, let's open the doorway to Faraway land. Let me sprinkle some fairy dust on this week's fairy tale or fairy fact. Let's get into this week's fairy tale or a fairy fact. This week's fairy tale surprisingly goes to Victoria the Goddess. In Paradise context, Victoria didn't do anything wrong by focusing her energies on Dre. She should have tried to find a connection sooner, but come on, she made an effort to try, and that's all we can hope for. Victoria handled herself well. When Taj came for her, Victoria knew the name of the game was to survive as many episodes as possible. But unfortunately for her, the ability to communicate this with the gods casting the spell to Lost ran out. And Taj, not trusting her connection with Trey, was the fairy tale. Girl, it's only been a day. Relax. Trey found the Grace magic pot and looked past the fact that you dated his uncle. The purpose of the show is to explore connections with people. It's a no for me on the Taj Nardo. If a guy is into you, he wouldn't entertain any other woman. Speaking of entertainment, I prefer Taj entertaining drama over Demi for sure. Let's see who lost their sparkle in this week's fairy fail. Fairy fail goes to the other Victoria. Oh my goodness, wow. I don't know where to begin, but I'll start right here. The eyebrows, apparently it's called eyebrow lamentations. Don't laminate your brows, rather laminate James' name in your head, Victoria.
I feel like maybe I should talk to Jordan more.
Who?
The guy that I'm into. Not Jordan. Just forgot the guy that I was vibing with's name, and he looks like a Jordan.
And not
Victoria calling James every other J name, and that was hilarious. It was the gift that kept on giving, as Lauren Zimmer would say. Victoria took being this episode's fairy tale too seriously. She was somewhere in make-believe land and she couldn't remember her own lies. For a teeny weeny moment, we felt sorry for Jay.
You didn't know my first name, bro.
I said a teeny wee.
Get up in the morning, do you pee outside or do you pee in the toilet?
I didn't mean that type of wee. When Victoria traveled to Faraway land, she took a caterpillar, stuck it on her face, and spent too much time with the gremlins who thought these 4 therapy techniques would work. She forgot she was still being recorded when she got into the car because after she smiled, she said she had something good at home. Tammy watching this fairy fact unfold, knowing that was the point she was trying to make. Brandon rejecting Victoria was the biggest fail in fairy fail. When he said, "Your aura is overpowering."
Stop it. Your aura is overpowering.
I died.
oh Demi.
Her reaction on his rejection was gross. You're allowed not to feel the vibe on the first date. It's not that serious. Not every man you vibing will roll over you, Demi. A fairy fell for Brandon too for stringing Tash, cause we know he was waiting for Piper. But Demi did the same thing last season on Bachelor in Paradise, so can we call this karma on Demi? But I guess she didn't recognize karma because that Carlton joke was cringe.
Except for Colton. And that was brutal. But he was gay.
Especially because she left with a woman on the last season of Bachelor in Paradise. Some of her jokes overall might be funny, but most are so unnecessary. Demi is definitely team too much, and I'm over it. I'm over her. Let's see who else sparkles.
Here's my fairy take on today's episode. The couples I am shipping and rooting for are Ivan and Jasenia, Noah and Abigail, and Joe and Serena.
David Spade, he did that. Loved how he never took the show seriously. And that is my fairy take. Until next time, remember to dance with fairies and spread some fairy dust.